And this is why we pumped, guys. Do you know what's going on? Well, I think we're in the know here. Justin, President Trump agrees to delay 50% tariffs on EU until July 9th. Guys, this person right here, Donald J. Trump, is truly a masterful manipulator of the markets, right? One time he says the full-on tariffs. The other day, the next day he's like, oh, let's just delay, or none at all, right? But this is bullish until July 9th, I guess. Like we said, which matches up with the theory of us going to pump until XRP reaches minimum and creates a new all-time high. Okay, so by July 9th, we will reach there, it seems as. So it's guaranteed. Very beautiful. Then, the European Union says it's ready to move quickly to negotiate a new trade deal with the United States, right? So they're not playing around anymore. It seems like they want to get things moving, guys. And remember, this is certainty to the markets, right? Which is quite bullish. And it's going to calm people down as well. Okay? Now, let's talk about Bitcoin and what's going on, right? We see volatile moves happening, and it is a weekend, so more manipulation is taking place. And I think today, on Monday, the stock market is closed. 40x Bitcoin whale has now opened a Bitcoin short worth $1 billion. Okay, so James Nguyen opened a Bitcoin massive short, guys, because he thought Bitcoin was going to go down dramatically, but it pumped, right? And he closed his short position with a $16 million loss. Okay, now from a TA standpoint, from James Nguyen, convince me we are going higher in the short term, i.e. within 24 to 48 hours. Let me try to convince, guys, because I did actually tweet out XRP buy, right? When was this tweeted out at? 12:42 p.m. 12:42. So let's go here, guys, to XRP's chart. 12:42. Let's see. It was tweeted literally right here. It was tweeted right here, I think. Yeah, basically at quite near the bottom, right? And then we're all the way up here. So what's crazy, guys, is that on the 12-hourly charts, right, on the higher time frames, remember, if XRP pumps, Bitcoin will as well. I want to talk about XRP first because this is massive. On the 12-hourly chart, XRP versus Bitcoin, I'm seeing a inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is the most bullish pattern out there, plus a bullish divergence, okay, or multiple actually, like that. So there is a inverse head and shoulder pattern plus a bullish divergence is forming on the 12-hourly. That's the most bullish requirement you could have here. Okay, so if that doesn't pump us, I don't know what will, guys, but I do believe that's gonna push us higher for this chart, which means it's gonna overtake Bitcoin here soon. But for Bitcoin, let's investigate. Now, this is just too precise, guys. Look what just happened. Okay, this is insane. The lines are working spectacularly. Range breakout came back down to what? To literally test this as support. It touches to the exact T, right? Exact precision, guys. Look at that. And what did it do? Hold support. And now we're up here. So the range or the channel is from 106.7k to like 115k. Okay. So in my opinion, things are looking quite bullish, right? Now for XRP, the XRP weekly has crossed, guys. We are going vertical. Look, XRP's time to shine is here, it seems as, right? But we're seeing bullish crosses appear on the is this the weekly? The weekly moving averages, guys. Okay. The short term moving average, the 5 MA, is above the purple 30, and then the 10 should be above the 30, I think. Right, so it's like orange, then green, then purple, like that. Right, that's a strong trend upwards, guys. So things are looking not too bad, right? Things are looking beautiful, if you ask me. Now, James Wynn said that he was gambling, right, with perpetuals, and he did make it out with $25 million profits. Though he's like, wait, maybe he's feeling bullish now. Let's reverse this double time, right? We'll see what happens, guys. I mean, things are moving up, right? For Bitcoin, we're starting to see a daily bullish divergence form, and tomorrow, if it closes above this level, guys, if it closes above 103,000, that's a bullish divergence, guys, which will mean it's gonna take that high, right? It's gonna go to 115k, which our line suggests, because that's the range it's in right now. And this comes from Credible Crypto, right? So again, if Bitcoin moves higher here, it's gonna give enough strength for XRP to move. XRP versus Bitcoin pairing is showing beautiful structure, right? It's giving a lot of bullish indicators flashing, guys, for insane moves higher. And what's going on here is that bulls want to defend 107 to 108k to hold for another crack at the highs, right? And that's where we're defending right now, basically, right? We did pump out of there at 106k and change. We're going to go higher at some points because the comparison of shorts versus longs, there's $8.5 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts to be liquidated at 115k, right? Send it. So basically, there's literally 9 billion people, or like $9 billion people shorting Bitcoin till like 115 or like 120k or something. Okay, and compare that to the longs, right? 500 million from 95k, guys. Look at the difference. Billions versus 500 million, right? So which path will they take? Easily the long path, or I mean the short path, right? People shorting, they're going to get taken out. The people longing, they're going to make money. That's what I think. We're not at the top yet either because Bitcoin funding rates are still nowhere near the previous all-time highs. We are just getting started, right? Look at this. This is the funding rates for Bitcoin, guys. It matched up with Bitcoin's high every time the funding rates exploded. Right? We're actually in the red right now because no one is taking on risk, right? No one wants a long. Why don't they want a long? Because they're scared. It's going to top any second now. And if you're scared, that means we're going to go higher until this spikes to new heights, or the range highs, right? Then they're going to bring it crashing back down. Michael Saylor doesn't care because he's hinting at buying more Bitcoin. I only buy Bitcoin with money I can't afford to lose, right? And he's on a buying spree, guys. Whenever he says something like this, the next day he announces a bigger Bitcoin purchase. So watch out for tomorrow. Then we have entered a new world because Bitcoin has the same number of users as the internet had in 1999. We are just getting started, right? So basically what's happening here is that Bitcoin's at 4.7%. Okay. This is where the internet was of adoption back in 1999. Bitcoin is here right now, right at 4.7%. It's gonna accelerate at some point, right? Unless Bitcoin collapses. For XRP, it's probably accelerating too. So that's the new world. We want everyone in to the point. Well, boomers are buying Bitcoin, right? We need the older folks to buy Bitcoin, guys. I told you, they're going to literally lure every citizen out there, right? The animals and everything combined will hold a little bit of Bitcoin, probably before the collapse, and that means the only way is up. Here comes Binance CEO. Look what he says about Bitcoin moving higher. I told you.
At 100 million users, but a lot of them are coming through as institutions, right? So yeah, the sovereigns, the semi-sovereigns, the family offices, the high net worth individuals, the allocators, the funds, people that just trade commodities, FX, stocks and bonds in the past are now adding a crypto trading desk, right? So we see a lot. So last year, in terms of institutional investors, we added, new onboarding of 97%. This year, in the first quarter, the momentum is very, very strong.
Basically doubled from that side.
At 100 million.
Yep, everyone's going to come in, guys. Adam Back says Bitcoin is going to $1 million this cycle. It's coming.
And the fact that we had an end of epoch new all-time high, 73.5, just before the halving, it's kind of, I viewed as a kind of confirmation that it would have gone higher if not for all of those headwinds. And so I think it's probably incorrect to draw too many inferences from the last cycle. And so if you take that out, I think that there's a lot of positive news that $100,000 is way too cheap. I expect we'll end the year much higher, and we get between 500,000 and a million during this cycle. So we'll see.
That's interesting because Binance previous CEO CZ said this cycle is going to go to 1 million, I think, as well, right? Everyone's calling for like 1 million Bitcoin, guys. Is that even possible? Let's go to Bitcoin on the higher time frame. Turn on all the resistance points. Let's see. 1 million is possible. 1 million is possible, guys. Look at that. That's literally at the top of the channel as well. Wow. Look at that. 1 million, guys. Right? I didn't even know this. But that's a lot of resistances it has to go through, right, to reach that point. So we'll see what happens.
If that transpires, and I think the other thing is, people talk about diminishing returns and different models. I mean, models are not necessarily that predictive, but stock to flow, Fowler law, various other models, and they are this diminishing return theory. Like technically an S-curve, like adoption of internet, adoption of mobile phones when they first came out, things like that. They go through a gradually phase where it's kind of niche thing and it's expensive and very few people have it, and then it becomes a social phenomenon when everybody has it, and the adoption starts to get steeper, right? So it could almost be the opposite, where people are calling for diminishing returns, but maybe there are 100 million people with some form of Bitcoin exposure. That can reach a tipping point when there are a few more people that have it, so that everybody's talking about it and they're starting to use it.
Yep, it's just gonna accelerate until we are in the new world, guys. So that's all for today's video. Let us prepare because there's a lot of volatility incoming. Not financial advice. What is this? See ya.